taught us.
Sorry. I'm sorry about that. All right. So is there anyone who objects? All right. I will try to still end on time, but I don't want to rush like I did kind of last week or last session. So my favorite Google app, and there's lots of them that are really fun, but is Forms. So lots of you on your pre-work survey told me you had lots of experience with Forms, and I'm not sure if that meant you've just interacted with Forms. In other words, people have sent you stuff or you've had to register on a form, because most of our chapters or our regions or even international are using Forms as the means to register for different items. It is a platform that you can use to do quick surveys, take a quick vote, get a pulse about something, create an application, create a registration, and because it's in Google, it's all free. That's what I love most about it. You need to know with Google Forms, if it is a survey, there's ways that the person, the owner / collaborator, can kind of tell who answered a certain question a certain way. You can kind of figure that out. Even if you don't put a name and you don't collect an email, you kind of can figure it out. So if it's really something important, for example, when International did their diversity survey last year, probably around the same time, and they pushed that out, they would not use Forms for that. They wanted people to be candid, honest, straightforward, and they didn't want to track it to a certain person. They wanted people to have that free flexibility. So they probably used Survey Monkey. I can't remember which one they did. Survey Monkey is fantastic. It's electronic. It can be built fairly fast and be pushed out to lots and lots and lots and lots of people to disseminate lots and lots and lots of information. The bad part about Survey Monkey is you need a subscription. It costs money. And depending how many people you're pushing it to determines the price. International has more money, of course, so it was a wise decision for them. They may have an ongoing yearly round subscription. When I've had other associations and organizations that have a budget, we put it in our budget to have Survey Monkey as an option for us when we need to do that kind of private mass kind of survey information. But for me, in the roles that I have in ADK, almost everything I do can be run on Google Forms. So, for example, oh my goodness, it's going to snow this Thursday, guys. Do we want to just quick switch to a Zoom instead of trying to figure out if we can even meet that day or not, because I need to rearrange our program speaker? I can decide that on Monday with a quick email with the link to that, so that everybody doesn't have to reply all, and then I've got to count up all the emails and who am I missing, blah, blah, blah. I can quick put it on a form, tell people to click it, answer me back, and get it back instantly. That's worked really well. And my sisters, who are not as tech savvy, have figured out how to click that link now and are doing really well answering me. I still got one or two that still answer me personally with an email, but that's easier for me to blend than my 32 people in my chapter as chapter president. So let's take a look at Google Forms now. All right, to find Google Forms, let me see my order here. We're going to go to the waffle. And if you haven't used Forms before, or if you haven't used it a lot, it may not be already loaded into your menu in your waffle. There it is. If it's not there, you put it right here, Google, Forms. And then you click the link to get into it. and I want it for personal use, go to Google Forms. And just like Google Docs, it's going to give me templates should I want to use that. It's going to give me recent ones I've used. So I have quick access. We're going to talk more about those in a minute. Or I can start fresh. I'm going to start fresh today because I want to show you all the buttons. What is the first thing we do when we start a new document in Google?
Title it.
We always title it because remember, this is going to the cloud. And if you don't name it and you forget that step, you're going to have tons of things in your Google Drive called
Phyllis.
untitled form or untitled document.
Phyllis,
So I'm going to, yes.
before you go any further, when if the form thing is not in the apps, where'd you say to go? Where'd you say to go to?
The search window. Let me show you. You go right into the search window and you type Google Forms.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, Google Gals Form Fun. All right, that's my title. Now I could do it just like this. This is plenty fancy enough, but I want to show you how to fancy it up. To fancy it up on just the appearance and coloring, I go to the artist palette. In the artist palette, I can put a beautiful banner picture. When I say banner, banners are always rectangular and they always go to the top. They're out usually at the top. So I can choose an image. When I choose an image over here, they have all different beautiful themes here. I could upload a picture, or I can choose from Google Photos because remember, my camera, my phone is connected to Google. And so all my photos that I take go up to the cloud. So let's just try this for fun. This doesn't make sense with Google Gals, but let's just try this cute little picture of this cute little couple here. And I'm going to click the one I want, and I'm going to say insert. Now, as I sit there and it loads, you see that a banner, like I said, is rectangular, and you really cannot change the shape much. You can focus in so it's just on one person, but you can't get the whole picture. So selecting which image is going to be key on which ones are going to work. This is challenging because some of the groups I've done this for have logos and I need to put the logo in. So I've tweaked with the picture first to get it into the shape and manner that I want it to be. That's Google 201. We're not doing 201, but that's just the hint there. All right, so this is not going to work. So let me go to upload. And this time I'm not doing a photo. I'm going to try to do a logo. And I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to go and try to find, I'm sorry, you guys are in the way again. I'm going to find Molly's logo. Let's see what that one looks in here. Molly's logo. Sometimes when you do Google Forms and you upload something, you do it blindly. Do you see how it's not loading yet for a preview? I know it's in there because I see that little faint logo there. That's the icon for images, but I can't see it. So I know in the middle is the heart. So I'm going to shoot this blindly up. And then I'm going to hit done and see what I did. See if I like it. Oh, I guessed a little right. So I could probably finagle this. It's not going to show her whole logo, but it might say share the love. Okay. But I still don't like that. So I'm just going to go to the pre-canned ones and I'm going to do, let's see. Which one do I want? Party. Illustrations. Oh yeah, let's try these. Oh yeah, look at that one. That's a good one. Halloweeny. So the nice thing when you use their canned illustrations, as you will see, is they load perfect. So that's the easiest route, is using the ones they prepared before. Now, if you didn't pay attention, when I loaded this, Google's so smart, it preempts me and says, I'm going to change the background and images to kind of match that picture. So it kind of changed the background and it changed this little teeny line here. But let's say I'm so picky, I want a different color. I want that one instead. So the theme color, when I change that, it also gives me different choices for the background. See these changing down here for background? Different colors down here. All right, let's go back to this one, and I'm going to change the background. And then I can even change what font I want. And I'll do something playful. So all of this is all found when I hit the palette up there, all these choices down here. And when I'm done, I close that out. And now I'm ready to start asking questions. So my first question is, what is your favorite type of Halloween candy? All right, after I put my question in, Google is so smart, it predicts what they think the answer should be. They think this, or what type of question it should be. They think that this question is a multiple choice. I could leave it multiple choice and I could put all kinds of candies in here. Or let's say I want them just to write their own answer. I hit this menu, drop down menu over here, and I figure out what kind of question I want. Short answers, just like you think. Reese's. Paragraph. I like Reese's because of bada bada boo to be bada bada boo. Multiple choice. Check boxes would be a question like, please choose all that apply. And they could click multiple things. Drop downs would be you create your own answers. I have not used that very much, kind of because it takes too much time, to be honest. A linear one is a scale. Please rate 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. You create the scale, you create the criteria or whatever it is that you're looking at. Multiple choice grid would look like this, and they click different boxes. And same thing with the checkbox, it's just a different format. All right, so I'm going to leave it as multiple choice, and I'm going to give you Reese's. I'm going to give you candy corn. I'm going to give you Butterfinger. I'm going to give you other. Okay. Then my next step is to decide, do I want this to be a required question? That means if you take this survey or you take this test, because you can use this in the classroom, I use Google Forms to give tests to my kids during remote learning. You have to mark this as required. You can't skip it. You have to answer before you submit. If it doesn't matter, you just leave it off. So when I did Ed Symposium, there was a survey I had to push late in the game of what kind of presentation will you be doing, live or pre-recorded? And so certain questions went to the live people and certain questions went to the pre-recorded. And so the question, are you live or pre-recorded, had to be answered, but the following questions did not. So that's why you can turn that on and off and not make every question required. All right, after you make that decision if it's required or not, you're going to decide, do I want to add another question or not? If I do, I can duplicate this, and I use this when I'm kind of doing standard formed questions, but they're a little different. I will just duplicate that and it'll kick it right down underneath. But if my question is totally different, a different format of answering, for sure, I'm just going to hit the plus sign again, add another question. When I get my questions formulated, if I don't like the order, I can move the boxes around by grabbing them here and trading places so I can change the format. Because sometimes as you start to develop stuff, it's just like anything. When you're drafting anything, you're like, oh, this really should go up here and this one down here. You can do that on this form. All right. These are, if you get really fancy smancy, for example, if you're using Google Classroom and this is a test for you, you can import questions from your curriculum, that sort of things. Here's to get fancy. Here's to add pictures. Here's to add video. You could get really fancy with forms. And you could even do different parts, section 1, section 2, section 3. And I've done those on certain things. I don't do them on these quickie things. I don't use many of these buttons for most of the stuff that I do, but you have that capability of making it fancier. If you're in the middle of this and you want to see, what does this look like when I send it out to people? They have a preview button. That's what it looks like to people when they're going to answer. It opened a whole new tab up at the top. So I can toggle between the two to see what it's looking like as I'm creating it. So now I go back to my view. I know it's my view because I have all the buttons. This is their view. They don't have those buttons. All right, this is just a undo buttons, right? All right, I'm done. Now I'm going to do just like I normally do, and I'm going to send it out for people to answer. To do that, I have some choices now. Do I want to collect emails of the people answering this? That's kind of important if you want to make sure everybody in your chapter has given their input, okay? And it doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be confidential to click this. Or you simply put in a question like number 1, what is your email? And they have to put it in themselves. I can do just like I do in Google Docs. I can send it directly in this form to the people by doing addresses, ADK, and I can pick who I'm going to send it to that way. I'm going to say, this is the subject. I've invited you to fill out this form. Please complete as soon as possible, blah, 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 and do that. And then I can send it. Most of the time when you create those, you're the only one who can see the responses. Because that's just usually how you do it. I don't know how else to explain it. But sometimes, let's say you're on a committee and you need other people to see the answers too from the committee. Then you're going to go down here, just like we talked about in contacts. See that same symbol? And I'm going to add collaborators. So I click that. And now I click the other people that I want to be able to see the answers. And then I hit done. It's going to show me as the owner, and anybody else I add, it'll either say collaborator or editor. And they will have the same rights that I do in fixing, changing, tweaking, seeing the responses of the form. If I don't want to do it that way and add people that way, I can change this and do it this way by clicking the bottom and changing it restricted so it says only people can open this link, because here's the link. And I can change it to anyone with the link can tweak it, change it, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to do that. You will learn that the hard way. You never want to give people all that permission, because they will mess your form up, and everybody else who opens it is going to see that their answers or their mess ups, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this to you in a minute. I'm going to let you do this, but you would never do that. Here's the way I always send my surveys or my questions or my blah, blah, blah. Do you see this where it said copy the link? I hit that, and now you see that my link is copied. It's just like I'm copying and pasting. Then I toggle back to my Gmail or my email and I write them and I explain what we're doing. Sisters, we have snow probably coming on Thursday. Instead of waiting for the snow to actually happen and see if it's bad enough to cancel, I have to reschedule blah, 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 the program. Please answer this quick survey if we should just quick make it to Zoom and then I can reschedule the speaker. Please answer me by tomorrow at lunchtime. Send. And I put the link for the form that way. That's usually how I do it. I just think it's more courteous to give more narrative. Plus, I like to talk a lot. Just saying. But you don't have to. You don't have to do it that way. You could just do it the normal way, which is just put the addresses here, and I could put my ADK fund group. And look, boom, already done. Already addressed because I put them in the contacts. Okay. All right. Who has questions on forms?
Okay, my brain must have died whenever you were explaining things.
Been there.
How do you send it to other people?
All right, let's look. I'll show you.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to show you the way I like to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So I hit the send.
Oh, you hit send. Okay. Okay.
Send.
All right.
And then I hit right here. It goes right to the link. I like to shorten it. I copy it there. And then I go back and write an email and put that link in the email.
Okay.
That's how I like to do it.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, sisters, we have more to do on forms. I'll just save a little time for the next session to show you about results and making copies of forms that you've already received that you want to do again. Let's say I used this survey last year. It's CNA. That's what I did with my CNA is I made a form. And each year I just tweak the questions to reflect what the current year's CNA is supposed to look like of what I need. And so most of them are going to be similar questions. I tweak it and send it out. I change the graphics a little bit so it looks a little different, but it gives me a nice starting point. All right. I see no questions. Remember, you can always stay after to talk to me about this, that, or the other thing. Let's do a poll. I get to go travel with my daughter next week. And I'm excited about this. This is she came up with this pretty lately because she's feeling better. And she's like, Mom, I want to go on a vacation. I want to go to the beach. Do you want to go with? Yes, I do. So it's my pre-birthday present. We're going to go have fun. So I have to put us off just a little bit. I'm sorry, Betty Jo. Sorry about that. Here is the dates available if you'll grab your calendar or quick go to your Google Calendar because everything should be merged now. Here's the dates I'm suggesting.
Okay, hold on.
Remember, if you can come at all, even if it's not your preference, if you would put yes, that will help us determine.
Okay.
Okay, 5, 8, no.
Okay, let me get my calendar. Calendar.
Phyllis, there's an IEB meeting on the 13th at 3:30, just so you know, so that might wipe some of us right out.
Yeah, and I had
That's okay.
something in the morning, so we may
That's
not be
okay.
doing that one.
That's why it's wonderful that you record these. We can
Yep.
catch up.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
October 13th. October 13th. Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, single choice. Okay.
No, you can answer. I want you to answer all three.
Oh, okay, okay.
Which ones can you come to?
Mm,
Yes on all of them, yes on some of them.
Yes.
So looks like number 3 is going down in flames. Charlene, I love that you laugh at my jokes. That just makes my day.
Remember, I have the Google gremlin sitting here, so that's
Yes,
how
you
you know
do.
where I'm coming from.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do. All right. We have, Mary Ann, were you able to answer? Just shake your head. Okay. This looks like one more sister to answer.
My students are at lunch, so I'm free. I
Oh.
can talk.
Hot diggity. All right, sisters, it looks like we have a tie for the 8th.
Oh, okay.
Let me share that and then you guys decide. I'm more of a morning person, if that helps you say anything. Charlene, go ahead. You're muted.
Like you, I'm gonna take my first vacation in 2 years next week, and on the 8th, I'll be in Maine, but if you have it at the morning session, that's 11 o'clock or will be, I can do that one. That's why I was saying I'm voting in favor of the first one.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
well then let's shoot for the morning. I'm screenshotting it. We'll do the morning one at 9 a.m. Mountain.
Okay.
And with that, sisters, I am proud of you and excited for you. Every time I do this, I'm so impressed with how far you're coming. Because remember on that first session, we had to even just teach how to toggle. And now we're able to share the screen, get in the folder. We have everything launched. We're ready to go and we get the task done. So I am happy for you and proud of you.
When is
All
your
right,
birthday?
stay if you want to stay back.
I want to know when your birthday is.
My birthday's the 19th of October. I'm a
Oh.
Libra girl and you know, I like to say it's all month long.
Mhm.
Because then, you know, when you say that, when you teach little children, you just get spoiled all month long, especially when you love chocolate.
I have a question. Because not all sisters have Gmail, that's why I tend to go to Outlook, because then I know that I can do like at my address book and I put people in groups and I know they'll get it. Does that make sense?
So Mary Ann, you can have contact. The only thing in general that you're going to have trouble with about Gmail is when you are using the Google platform specific stuff. For example, if I send someone who doesn't have Google a form and they don't know how to open a Google form because they've never launched that on their device, they've never got Chrome loaded, that's when we run into trouble. Or if you're doing a Google Calendar invite, Google Calendar invite really speaks, generally speaking, to the Google Gmail addresses. Now, I say that because other people have sent me invites in my AOL, and because I'm launching it in Chrome, sometimes I'm able to answer it and sometimes I'm not. So there's this in between. So Mary Ann, you can do your email however works for you. I'm not trying to preach to you, because what Mary Ann's done is she's had, I think it's her daughter or her granddaughter, has merged her Gmail feeds right into her Outlook. So everything she gets from Christy and Molly automatically notifies her in her Outlook, and she's figured out how to launch things so that she has access. So if she wants to stay in Gmail, stay or in Outlook, you stay in Outlook. The only thing where Gmail interferes with some of our sisters is if they can't launch a few of the platforms that they need to have in that platform. If you send them only a Google Doc and they don't have Google loaded or Chrome loaded onto their device, they can't open it. And you'll get an email back from them, I can't open this. And that's why knowing how to toggle and give them the same thing in Word, because that's probably what they do have, they can open it that way.
I have to go get lunch.
Bye.
Bye, Mary Ann.
Yes, bye, you guys.
Bye.
You're
Thank
welcome to
you.
stay. You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Phyllis, you're gonna have to record for me,